Hi, welcome to the Nomad podcast. As always, I'm Viking. We're joined here today by one of my fellow teammates, one of the Nomad boys, Eric Picard, aka Heavy. Heavy, introduce yourself.
How's it going, guys? It's good to be on the show finally.
Yeah, always kind of the background guy. Before we get too far into it, though, as always, this show is sponsored by Niagara Quartermaster Airsoft. Literally the only store that Nomad buys their stuff from. So if you're in the area, St. Catharines, head on down there, buy some shit from them, because that's where we buy our stuff. So anyways, Eric, before we start, let's do this Nomad style.
Absolutely, buddy.
Crack a few beers, kind of get this podcast going. So Eric, you're finally on the show, buddy.
You know what? It's episode 4 with the Nomad podcast, and yeah, I'm finally on. So I'm home from out west, and had to take a chance to get in this, man, because seems like we're getting some momentum. So I want to get in on the action.
That's funny. You're so for everyone that doesn't know, 2 of our teammates work out west for 3 weeks. Back here, don't work back here, but it's 3 weeks out, 3 weeks home. So episode 4, which would have been the 4th week of us, you're back here, first week back home. You're on the podcast. Absolutely,
and I'm very happy to be here.
So later on in the show, after all the editing is done, we have one of the guys from CDC, Keanu, up on the show. We have a surprised interview with Tony. What a great fucking guy.
What a great fucking guy.
So tried to set something new up there at the end, see how it kind of fits in, but it was a surprise call to his Facebook to see what he had to say. But what's your opinion on the Nomad podcast so far from a fellow teammate that I hope can be as honest as possible, just hurtfully honest?
You sure you want the hurtfully?
I want it. So, buddy, I'm sure you've said more hurtful things to me than you can about this podcast.
Oh, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. You know what? What I'd say is let's expand a little bit more on all of our other teammates, because as much as I love you and Can-Do, there's 11 guys on our Milsom roster, right? And we all got something to bring to the table.
Oh, exactly, and that's it. It's kind of feels weird trying to do this without Caleb sitting right beside me.
I was just gonna say that. Like, it must be weird doing it. Actually, I'm not even beside you right now.
Yeah, well, our audio quality might be so amazing that people think you are. We don't know.
Well, hopefully it is. I really hope it is.
But so Eric and I taking the first step into expanding kind of better audio quality on remote talks. Last week we had Force Recon on, but that didn't go as hot as we would have planned it to. Great content from them, no fault of their own. It was more on us not exactly knowing what we're doing, but
well, at the same time, like, we're just getting into it, you know, we're taking baby steps, and it's a learning curve. That's really the main thing for us.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I think everyone's having fun with it. We're kind of doing some newer things in the community. I know there's a lot of airsoft podcasts, but I don't think any of the ones that are from active teams are from Ontario, Canada at all. And if we're wrong, please go ahead and send a link. I'd love to take a listen in on those.
Yeah, no, that would definitely add to it, but it would be good to hear from other people too, for sure.
What an interesting segue, Eric. We actually have, yes, we got Adam. Oh, shit, I said his name. I didn't say his last. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in that. I'm going to have to cut that out, I bet. I don't know.
Totally fine.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, it's Nomad.
We bring kegs to events. We bring kegs to events. So
sorry, Keanu. I really went out of my way to not say it in the interview, but shit, I'm gonna have to cut that all out. Yeah, because he asked me not to say his name.
Okay, well then you can just go back to where you said segue.
All right. What an interesting segue. Okay, blah blah blah. We are actually gonna have Keanu from CDC on the show in a little bit. Already recorded everything with him, which is another interesting step that we're trying to do with these podcasts, really learning how to do that stuff. But you're really stepping up your game on your audio quality. I've personally seen your setup right now. Tell the crowd, for anyone that's maybe trying to start their own podcast, what you got going on right now.
Well, a couple days ago, we tried to do a recording with Foxtrot. For those of you who don't know, he's a Foxtrot 17. He does his own thing. It sounds great, but compared to our audio quality compared to his was just not up to par. So I got myself a new microphone and a boom stand. Sorry, and hopefully it sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, and you sent me all the links to the stuff you got. We were speaking a little bit earlier, just ordered the same shit. I got one of those pop filters, one of those fancy things. And like we had said, I think if it was not the last one, it was the one before. Episode 12 is when we were at our prime. So we still got like quite a few episodes.
Oh, we got a long way to go for sure.
Yeah, but once we get there, we're taking the steps. So Eric,
yes,
a lot of people in the community already know you, but there are some people that don't just because of your work schedule. I know you've missed a lot of events. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role on the team.
All right. Well, mainly when we go to big games, I am the support gunner on the team, along with JR, obviously. But I'm the gun that you can hear from halfway across the field.
Yeah, I've definitely led some charges with you supporting us from the back, and it's an intimidation factor, that's for sure.
Man, I'm telling you right now, my game is accuracy through volume.
I love it. I think that's kind of become a team motto as well. A lot of us have just started saying that because, no matter what, at the end of the day with airsoft, you're not taking the most precise shots, so we just decided to start taking more shots than other teams.
Well, I think if anything, we're just trying to have fun when we're on the field.
That's the thing, and who doesn't like putting BBs downrange, right?
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
Speaking of our kind of mentality on the field, one of the things that we're going to bring Adam in to talk about was players leaving milsims or falling asleep early on milsims and how it kind of affects the game. What's your opinion on that, your view?
As far as the falling asleep early thing, being somebody who works out of town, and when you get home you're tired, you try to push as much as you can, but if you can't make it, you can't make it. On the other hand, for those of you, or for those players who leave early, I feel like you paid to be there, right? And when you leave early, you're not only taking away from your own experience, you're taking away from the other teams as well, like your own teammates who are on the same side as you and the opposition, because now there's just less people to go up against, so you're not getting into as many firefights, and it's just, I don't know, man. I kind of want to sympathize, but at the same time, I feel like you paid to be there. Even if your side's down, tough it out. Just keep plugging away, because you never know what can happen.
Yeah, if you go down because you're too tired, you just can't take it, whatever, that's something else. But if your team's not winning, or you're not doing the cool guy shit, so you just decide you want to go to bed or leave, or you want to have a pizza party on the sidelines, little shot at NPAC. If you're doing shit like that, spending way too much time off the field, it ruins the actual experience that everyone pays for. Like, you're paying to do a simulation of games.
I was just going to say, MILSIM does stand for military simulation. So, real world simulation. You can't just be like, you know what, I'm tired, I'm going to go take a nap. No, it's, if you're in it, you're in it. You got to stick to it and just keep plugging away.
And that's, I think, like our mentality this year especially, is we've been treating it more as a sport than anything. Really doing our best to leave it all on the field, play hard, and have like a sportsmanship mentality of it. Whereas I think a lot of the people that get into it, as much as we agree it's just playing pretend, If you
Absolutely.
only treat it, if you only play it as playing pretend, then at any point in time you don't feel bad about being like, well, I'm done, that was fun, whatever. But if you bring the sports mentality to it as well, it really pushes that, like, okay, you got to be competitive, you got to be out there, you really push it for your team.
No, for sure, because at the end of the day, it's better to win, right? It's a good feeling when you finish the event and your team came out on top. So yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Well, and the other thing too, something I meant to get into with the interview I had with Keanu, and totally forgot to bring up, is my personal opinion is I don't think that all milsims should be fair. I don't think there's anything wrong with it being one-sided, because if you're playing a milsim, personally, I don't feel that all milsims should be designed to be completely fair off the starts. Like, a lot of milsim or military like situations aren't designed. They happen, and certain people are at a advantage over other people, and I think that these games should be enjoyed from the experience, not so much the win or loss.
Yeah, but at the same time, now, see, you used a word there that I don't disagree with. I think they should be designed to be even. But if the scales start to tip in the favor of one team because they're doing so well, I don't think there should be, countermeasures to kind of balance the odds. If one team's doing really good, I really think that, they worked hard to get where they are, let them have it. It just means that the other team should be more motivated to push a little bit harder in order to make up the gap.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of what I meant by, like, being designed by that, something we haven't had much of a chance to talk about are the milsims that we plan on running this year. But what more of an idea I had was that if you have a lot of games that are military versus like Civi or Rebels, whatever, the Rebels wouldn't start on an exact even playing field as designated military.
No, that I understand. Yeah, I understand.
So if you had certain objectives, say, all along the field that the military side already holds even before the game starts, it's not exactly fair, but you got to think of ways to, like as a rebel, you want to play that game. You want that simulation as a rebel, that you're not starting completely even with the other team, stuff like that. Like, and these are, obviously every game shouldn't be ran that way, but I think too many people kind of think of it as, oh, if I'm not winning, I'm not having fun. Well, it's a mil sim. It's a simulation of a game. So,
you know what? I couldn't agree more with that. That's pretty bang on right there.
But that's just kind of one of the things that Keanu and I go over about how it kind of affects the community and everything when players leave games early. Before I bring him in though, Eric.
Yes.
What events are you going to play this year?
Well,
it kind of seems like the ones that we were looking at, you're not available for.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. If I'm home, I'll play in whatever's available and whatever the team wants to go to. To be totally honest, I haven't really looked at the schedule for the upcoming couple months, but
that's the thing.
I do know that I will not be home for Daybreak, Force Recon's game that they just announced recently. But there's a couple other ones that I'll be around for.
Oh, exactly, and that's the thing is, anytime you're home, I really want to do kind of my part also to make sure everyone in the community knows you, because when we get out there playing with you, we're all having a fucking blast, and it's hard because there are some years that, like, last year you missed a couple events, whatever, and this year you're going to too, but it's no fault of your own. It's just work comes first, right?
It's just a scheduling thing. But at the same time, one thing that I know you and I have talked about, traveling to different fields from around Southern Ontario and just playing walk-ons. And if the local team happens to be there, we can meet them and play with them and kind of expand the community overall.
Yeah, exactly. And that's been our main goal, right? Is doing our part to make the community a healthier environment. And I'd be hard pressed to think of an area that doesn't at least know our name, maybe not know who we are, but have more than likely in the Ontario region heard of us in some aspect.
Yeah, just kind of heard our name, and well, that has a lot to do with the keggers that we throw at nightfall. But
Yeah, that's we have to thank Force Recon for that, right?
absolutely. But on our own, though, we've been doing quite a bit more, trying to get the word out, and I'm pretty comfortable saying that we've put a pretty good effort into building a solid community with a lot of the teams in Southern Ontario.
Exactly, and I'm in love with our team as much as all of us are. I mean, there's not a player of Nomad that kind of half-asses the mentality. We all put in together, like we all go out of our way to wear Nomad gear and do stuff in our everyday life just because we all kind of appreciate what we're trying to do. It's not half-assed.
Yeah, man, no, for sure.
But without further ado, let's get over to that interview with Keanu, kind of see what he has to say, and I will get back to you right after that, and we'll wrap up the show together, buddy.
Sounds good, man.
Sounds good. We're joined here with Keanu from CDC. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. How are you?
Awesome, man. You've been a huge supporter of the show podcast since the start, even though it's only 3 episodes ago, but also a huge supporter of the team. Just saying thanks and really wanted to take this chance to kind of get you on the show. Our timing kind of worked out together this time, so.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You guys are the fun team. I really like what you guys have done with yourselves. I think we've talked about this previously. You started off as the drinking team, make airsoft drink again, and you guys really molded yourself into a force to be reckoned with. Like, I don't really want to be against you on the field.
It's
To be honest.
It's actually pretty good to hear that too, because one of the last things we were talking about was how when we first started, we had no idea where the actual team was going to go, and it kind of slowly turned into somehow we're one of those respected teams on the field, and never really saw it being that off the start. But speaking of being a respected team on the field, CDC easily one of the most known teams in especially the Ontario Milsim kind of area. How before we get into the big questions of the show, tell us a little bit about your team.
Our team is kind of a diverse mix of people that we've kind of just fell in love with along the way. I don't know if that makes any sense. Started off really small, and we've grown exponentially because every time we go to a field and we find a guy that was just amazing, we're like, this guy doesn't have a team, and it's just, how can this guy not have a team? He's an awesome dude. He calls his hits. He's doing nice things on the field. He's got good sportsmanship. He's not calling anybody else's hits out. Everybody seems to like him. Like, how can you not like a guy like that?
Oh, exactly, and I'm sure I haven't met all of your members. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys have about 20 members now, or something around that area.
Yeah, we're at 22, and it's nice because it's we like to say that we have like some full-time guys and some part-time guys, right? Because I mean, it's airsoft. Nobody's getting paid to do this, so you can understand if life comes first, right?
Oh, exactly. We have the same kind of thing with our team where we have our 11-man like solid milsim unit, but then we also have like the friends of the team that love to play airsoft but aren't necessarily the milsim players.
Yeah, you got a core group of guys. I think that's pretty much the guys that are dedicated to every team, and then you've got the guys that are just like, maybe they work weird hours or whatever it is, and they can't communicate with the team on like a real-time basis. But you still hear from them, like they'll message you at like 3 a.m. and you're just like, you got to get it in the morning or whatever. But they're still there, and then they miss out on a lot of things too when they have real lives and weird hours. Is like a game comes up and it needs a quick registration. sometimes those guys miss out. And then, the guys that are there in real time, I mean, our most active hours is, probably after the working hours, like 6 to 10 p.m. Is when everybody seems to come alive. And those are generally the guys that get into those 11-man squad games like Force Recon's Nightfall 8, or, like Daybreak's coming up. We've got, I know you guys are doing a thing up at Wasaga, and I think we're going to Risk 4 that day.
I'm so jealous.
Hey, man.
I wish we could come to Risk 4. I mean, we support all of Nardak's games, love them all. It's going to be a blast. But just like you guys have your I guess you could say, loyalties, we have a big connection with the SGA Knights. They've really gone out of their way to come to every shitty little game we've done off the start. So
no, that's awesome. And I mean, I think that's really what this game's about, is that we're a very small niche community in Canada. It's not like the U.S. where it seems that everybody's an airsofter. We have, I don't even know what the population of Canada is right now. I'm going to say something stupid like 28 million or something. It's probably more than that.
Let me just look that up.
But the U.S. is at least 10 times our size and a smaller landmass. So obviously you're going to have more people with the same interest in a smaller area. But yeah, we're a very niche community, so everybody knows everybody, and I think the biggest thing we need to do for each other is just kind of like stand up and support each other and kind of grow the sport. I'm looking at like pages like ASC on Facebook, and the member count's not massively huge, and that's supposed to be all of Canada. Like, maybe new airsofters aren't finding it. I know the old time airsofters, not to say anybody's old, but the ones that had followed the ASC forums are definitely converting to social media, and I think that's where everything's gone now, is everything's on social media, and everybody's given up on forums.
Yeah, and when ASC was around when I first started, I don't know if it's still the same way or not, because I'm not even part of the Facebook group or anything like that anymore, because like there's the same kind of attitudes around a lot that Nomad's going out of their way to change, and it wasn't a very healthy environment for a lot of new players that had questions that for the most part come off as stupid.
I agree with that to a certain extent. I think ASC does have a certain core amount of members that still want to grow the sport, but I think a lot of guys that are on there have been in the sport for so long, and they're just so tired of the same stuff. Like, what gun should I get? I'm new. Should I be a sniper? Is the Novrich SSG 24 any good? Like, you see these questions come up day in and day out, and I think it just wears on people.
Oh yeah, exactly. But
some people take it to heart. It's just like, oh, this question again, and they get frustrated and go Hulk smash or whatever. And then other people can just kind of ignore it and move past it. My big theory with social media, since it's there's a lot of negativity out there on social media. If I can't say something positive or educational, I just kind of move on.
Yeah, exactly. And it really only takes a couple members in the community to ruin any sort of forum like that. Like, there's only ever really a couple members that are posting things that are kind of detrimental to the community, but if enough newer players see stuff like that, it's offsetting for them, and it kind of affects the whole environment. For like same kind of rule that you had, my rule usually, because I do my part as a internet troll every now and then. I like to have a little bit of fun on the internet. Everyone knows
we all
that.
do.
But my personal rule that I stand by is I don't say anything on the internet that I wouldn't also say to someone's face. That's
a strong statement, because I mean, we do have a lot of keyboard warriors out there. Like guys that will jump onto stuff and comment when they shouldn't comment, but they wouldn't say that in person, and because they'd get probably their teeth knocked down their throat.
Well, exactly, and that's it. It actually super pertains to like a couple hours ago, something on Facebook. You and I both made memes on a Facebook page And one of the comments was asking for the one I made, basically asking if I was implying something about another team. And the guy that made the comment, I don't what I'm not going to say the guy's name, but I've been playing with him for years. He knows me well, and it was one of those things of like, hey buddy, like, if I was trying to imply something, like I would full out say it. I'm never the kind of player to just kind of say things in the background and see what happens. So it's
and with your buddies, you got inside jokes and stuff. So like, not the entire internet will understand what's going on. There's like a small group of guys that get a laugh over it, and it's just
exactly.
like, yeah. We've all been there. I think everybody has a little niche group that is in on the inside joke. So
yeah, but moving forward from that, kind of talking about attitudes at Milsims, things like that, like what your team tries to accomplish. Amazing to have you on because you were actually the one that kind of went out of your way to suggest the topic, that being people dropping off early from Milsims and how it kind of affects the game as a whole. What about that kind of made that what you wanted to suggest for this kind of podcast?
Okay, so
I just have to interrupt you real quick so I don't cut you off.
Oh, we're doing that?
I was gonna ask you if you had a beer, but I didn't know. I didn't know.
Hang on a second.
Oh God! You should have warned me. I would have gone and grabbed another beer to crack it with you. Well,
it's all good.
Cheers, buddy.
It's the end of the day. Cheers to you.
What's the drink of the day today for you?
Oh, I am. I'm on those. I'm on the Fat Boy beers, so I'm doing the Michelob Ultras right now.
That's some high class shit. I would expect nothing less from a member of CDC.
You know what? When you look at the price of them in the store, you don't seem like it's a very high class beer. Like compared to like your Coors and Molson products.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually kind of cheaper, and I'm just like. I'm all about calories. I know I'm not moving around that much during the week, so it's,
Well, calories, and there are only like 3 carbs, I think, which are the real killers.
Let's see, 1 gram of protein. That's the big thing.
There
for
you
me.
go.
So I got to drink about 20 of these to get my protein intake.
I'm
yeah, you're right. 3 grams of carbs.
Yeah, my main calorie intake definitely is my beer because I don't. I do my best not to chintz out on my beer. Lately it's been Laker for me, and Laker red beer. It's 5.5% and it's $1.95 for a tall boy. You can't argue with that.
No, that's a good price as long as it's good beer. That's a decent price.
Well, the lager version of this beer is what we had at the kegger.
Oh, was that your kegger?
Yeah.
Oh well, I had plenty of those, and it was pretty tasty.
Yeah. But so. Now that we got the beers out of the way, we can really get into the conversation. We're both kind of relaxed. Doing the Nomad style interview. Sorry, I had cut you off. What would make you kind of want that be discussed?
So I've gone to a lot of Milsim events, and the biggest thing I see every game is we either have way more numbers than the other team or we have way less numbers than the other team. And it all starts off even. But the problem is guys are like, oh, it's dinner time. It's 6 o'clock. You're like 6 hours into an 18-hour event or 12-hour event or whatever it may be. And these guys leave the game. So one guy leaves the game. And then his buddy goes, oh, he's leaving the game. I guess it's okay for me to leave the game too. And it starts this domino effect where everybody starts leaving the game. And what that does is all of a sudden it's lopsided. So you're on one team and I'm on another. I'm on the team that loses players. You're on the team with the guys that are, going to go the distance, the whole 9 yards. You guys get bored because there's less and less targets on the field. You're like, are we going to do some shit now? And meanwhile, my side is struggling, and guys are wearing out even faster because we've lost, let's say 15 to 20% of our guys because everybody thought it was cool to leave for dinner and not come back or whatever, go to the club, whatever you need to do. So it just hurts the game as a whole. And then we've got guys that have spent months and months and months trying to produce these games, trying to come up with fragos and objectives and, really put something together so that the players are happy. And when the unbalance happens, it just kills the entire game as a whole, and it insults everybody that's involved, not just the players, not just the production team, everybody. It just hurts the game. So it's been a huge pet peeve of mine. I've been on both sides. And I'm like, why are we like rickrolling these guys like right now? They were fighting, strong 3 hours ago. What happened that changed? And then at the end of the game, I find out, oh yeah, well they had 25 players leave. I'm like, wow, 25 out of the 80 players that were on the field for them are gone. No wonder why it was so easy. We have more firepower.
That's just cutting in on that. That's definitely been one of the things in the last year I've really noticed as a huge problem. One of the events that we had the luxury of playing against each other at was Icebreaker. Amazing.
Yeah,
time.
Icebreaker was a great example of that.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of us, we all had a good time, even though there was the problem where a lot of players left the game. And that's no fault of the game runners or the game itself or anything like that. It's that, like, my personal opinion is that there's two kinds of players that are the problem here. There's the players that aren't prepared for what they're kind of getting involved with. There's the players that are the hardcore night vision players that really only come to play the night game, that ruin the day portion for both teams involved. That's kind of my opinion on that.
Yeah, I think if you're not showing up for the day portion and you're going to plan to run at night only, there's something to be said for that. Like some of those night guys, they run all night. Like they'll go hard, and they could be the difference for your team. But I think it really comes down to the commanders. Like you can't run all 80 or 100, or like in Force Recon's instance at Nightfall is like 196 guys or whatever it was per side. You can't run them ragged the whole time. So there needs to be some sort of like benching of players, I think, early, or I don't know, like it's up to the commanders to really decide so that the game stays balanced throughout, because like once one team sinks their teeth in, it's usually a runaway.
There hasn't, like Nightfall was
an
relatively...
exception to that is Nightfall, because Tan was definitely the hands-on favorite by I'm not going to say halfway through, but dinner time, it was like Green was not coming back at all. But the difference is that Tan took a hard rest at night and Green ran hard all night long, and that's where the game was really won.
Exactly.
Now it was close in points though. But if we had more players on our side of the field, that wanted to squad up and could run all night, then it could have ended up in a slight victory or even a draw.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the other thing too. So for everyone that doesn't know, you're the team lead of CDC, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and myself on the field, also the leader of Nomad, keeping guys going, keeping guys out there playing. At the end of the day, the players that stay out there on the field are the people that have a squad lead that is able to play in those zones of pushing their players to their limits while still realizing that it is just a game.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
So, like, when you have those players out there, like, I was insanely proud of my squad this year. There was a lot of players out there that this is their first year that they were awake for all of Nightfall out there gunfighting. And what it really ends up coming down to is the fact that they had someone actually pushing them and not saying, hey, you got to get out there and do this. It's really just asking the team, what can you do and what did you pay to be here to do? Like, a lot of people out there, they pay to come to these events and then they just kind of get whatever they want out of it and then they go to bed and wake up. Like, you're paying for an experience, and if you don't stay up or push hard for that, you're not getting the experience that it could be, so you're just taking away from the event for yourself more than anything.
My biggest thing with these events, and I'm probably different than 90% of our airsoft player base these days, is that I'm all about the team. So it's like, if I don't run myself ragged, like, who else is going to run themselves ragged?
Exactly, and that's what the leaders of teams have to do, and I feel like.
But it's even just for like Bravo. It's like, if my guys need a rest or whatever, like, they've run themselves to their legs are just falling off, and they haven't had enough water or they haven't had any food or whatever. Dude, take a rest. There's no need to kill yourself over a game. But at the same time, I have a responsibility to the rest of the faction to try to push as hard as I can for as long as I can.
Exactly, and I mean, you guys did phenomenal. You guys held kitchen for a long fucking time, didn't you?
Yeah, so my joke for this whole event was back to the kitchen. So
yeah, that's for us. It was the same thing, except we
Yeah.
bounced back and forth between Northfield and Southfield. I think we were inside for all of, I'm gonna say, like 25 minutes when we ran into like you guys and Aegis, and then we were back outside. That was it.
Yeah, and that was the only experience outside. Like, that whole time in that field was like, that was it for us. The rest was kitchen, and my big joke was like, I had come up with something kind of fun and creative every time our squad leaders would say, "Okay, we need you in the kitchen." I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to learn how to cook crepes this time," or something like that, right? Just trying to keep morale high, because like, when you start doing the same mundane thing, like, you don't want to be in one spot for 18 hours. You want to be moving around.
Yeah.
You want to be doing the cool guy shit. That's my biggest thing, is like, everybody wants to do the cool guy shit and nobody wants to do the mundane tasks.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, though, is that mundane shit, like, that's part of the experience you pay for. Like, if you want nonstop firefight action, like, go to a walk-on, play a walk-on where the game's
Yeah,
15
skirmish
minutes
it
long.
out, like, yeah, whatever.
Like, if you're going to these 24-hour milsim games, then you have to be ready to experience, not, a lot of people think it's boring, but some of the best times I've had is locking down a location, just hanging out with my team in an actual airsoft situation where you can kind of, like, you get that chance to pretend a little bit more. Like, that's all that airsoft is. We're all out there pretending we're cool operator guys, right?
I call us LARPerators.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's what we do. We're dressed up for a role and we're pretending to be like SEAL teams and
Yeah, and so kind of how we were talking earlier about how you guys are going to Risk 4, is it ran by Tag this year, or is it a Nardak game? What's going on there?
it's definitely a tag game.
Yeah.
Nardak is leading it, and it's at Flag Swipe this year because rest in peace college.
Yeah, and you know what? For all the players that got a chance to play at that college, by far in Ontario, the best AO. Well, I can't say best AO because I played a really amazing game at a high school in Welland. But at the time, one of the best AOs going, and just some of the most amazing airsoft games I've ever played.
Yeah, the college was a unique atmosphere, and I think everybody has that same sentiment when they talk about the college, just because it's so unique. It's got like outdoor areas, and then it's got 3 buildings, and there's so much field, just area to take over. It's like, yeah, you need to get into the buildings, or you need to get in front of the buildings to take flags and stuff. And there was huge dynamics to taking those flags. which made the place just amazing. And the main building at the college was just like one of those wow things. It was like PRZ. There were so many entry points. You could get breached at any time. You just got to make sure that if you're inside, you're running a security detail, and if you're outside, you need to find the best way in. It just made everything so much more exciting.
So, my personal opinion of it, yeah, I love PRZ and like the college, shit like that, a lot. But I feel like a lot of people in the milsim community don't give outdoor fields enough credit, because at the end of the day, a lot of the gunfights that actually happened at the college were outside. A lot of those gunfights, once you get inside, a team holds it, a team takes it, that's it. Like, unless there were, like, the skirmish games that were at the college were phenomenal when they had, like, okay, you start at this side of the building, you start at that side of the building, and there's an actual objective. Other than that, a lot of the gunfights that actually happen at these indoor games, PRZ especially, is the gunfights are outside.
Yeah, because once you assemble a perimeter on the buildings and you have a security detail, there's really no getting into the building unless you have like an awesome breach team.
Yeah, exactly. And like even once you get in, like there's a little bit of gunfight, stuff like that, and then the building's taken. It's not breaching. You're flipping a flag and you're fighting for the building, and then you hold it. Like there's not dynamic objectives inside the buildings for the most part, unless you do those skirmish style games.
Yeah, like once you get in the building, it's not a siege or ultimate airsoft experience where it's like full on CQB indoors all the time.
Yeah. So one of the what I was getting at there from the tag games, one of the best milsim experiences I had that I think really bridged that really bridged that gap from what we were talking about players dropping off was New Dawn 3? No, New Dawn 1?
Just New Dawn.
Was it just New Dawn? Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing that shirt right now. It just says New Dawn Tactical Airsoft Gaming.
Actually, Jamie came up to me at Nightfall and gave me two, but they were larges, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with a large shirt. I'm a double X guy, so I ended up giving them to Carly for night shirts. I wish I could wear them.
Squeeze into them, man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Show off those muscles.
But New Dawn though broke the game up, where I don't remember the exact timing of it, but it was like an 8-hour day portion, a 3-hour I think it was like 3 or 4 hour break where they had a like some sort of food delivery. It was like, was it a pig roast or
so the pig
like
was huge. It went from noon till 8 p.m. and then they did a pig roast until 11 when night missions started. They did like
fuck, you really remember this stuff, eh? You got
like
your notebook in front of you?
No, man, I'm like an elephant. I remember every detail of everything that I was involved in. It's scary. Shit keeps me awake at night, man. So it went to, there was like a 3-hour break, and we had a pig roast where they brought in this like giant pig. It was massive. I don't know if you saw the pig or not, but like everybody saw it cut up, but I actually saw what was left of the pig when they started cutting it, and I was just like, holy crap, this is a massive animal. And so they did the pig roast, and there was served with sides like coleslaw, and there was rolls, and I think there was beans, and I don't think I had any of the beans because, you know, milsim, right? You don't want
You're locked in the college basement with a bunch of boys who want to be farting all over.
Yeah, you kind of want to bung yourself up for a milsim. You don't really want to be like hitting a porta potty. So I didn't do the beans, but I did the coleslaw, and wow, what a great experience that was to pay for a game and then get catered food as well.
Exactly, and you know what? I'm gonna say that's probably one of the things that set Nomad on the path to being like, holy shit, we should bring kegs and get everyone around, hanging around talking. Because those lines where people were waiting for amazing food and just telling airsoft stories was probably one. I probably enjoyed that more than I enjoyed the actual game, because you're like, everyone knows the fun part of airsoft is telling the stories. Like, no one enjoys laying in a ditch for 4 hours wet. but being able to tell the story of laying in a ditch for 4 hours wet is fun.
Yeah, and then the nice thing about the barbecue portion was like it was a chance for green and tan to actually, I always have friends on both sides, so it's a chance for people to actually like catch up and just like how's your kid and all these other things, like, because you don't see each other so often because we all go to different events and stuff. So it's nice to kind of have that relationship and like how was your game going and stuff, and you get to tell each other your stories. Oh, I got you earlier and all that kind of stuff, and everybody laughs. And then you've got like the kind of elitist dudes that will just like go sit in the corner and they won't talk to the other team. They're just like, yeah, we're in war right now. We don't talk to the other team.
Yeah, exactly. And like at that game too, like the Op 4 guys had their own little area and they just hung out there, and it was kind of stupid. But so they had that. They had the game and then the break out for anybody that wanted to take a rest, eat the food, and then they had a night portion which was optional and you had to actually tell how many people were going to be involved.
Yeah, it was super weird because they alternated it because there was only one Op 4 unit. So what they did was they did, okay, Tan, you got the first mission, and then you had to wait like 30 minutes, and so that Op 4 could rest, and it was like Green, you got the second mission, and then you have to wait another 30 minutes for the next Tan mission, and there was long gaps in between it. It gave a chance for guys to rest up, but it also slowed the pace of it, and at that point of the time, people are starting to burn out because it's like wee hours of the morning, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Then again, after that, you would probably remember, was it like 6 o'clock it opened back up?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. So at 8, the game opened back up.
Yeah, they did a 4-hour, 8 to 12. They did a phase 2 of the main objective.
And you know what? Like that setup really allowed the players that wanted to play the whole game. They could, definitely slow the pace down in the middle, and that's the only game I've ever been to that was kind of like that. So they didn't have the chance to really polish that and make it better, but the aspect of how it was really gave the players a chance to play hard, take a break, talk to people, then play hard throughout the night if you were one of the players that wanted to play at night, bought your nods, want to play with your nods, and then also the morning after play as well. So everyone got a rest. There wasn't a lot of drop-off at the game, and I have to say it's got to be because of the separation.
Yeah, and the separation's nice because, and I think Nardak really realizes this. For Risk 4, he's got it scheduled from 2 to 6 p.m. is a mandatory, or 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Is a mandatory rest period.
Okay.
So the game, it's a ceasefire at 2 a.m. and then everybody has to rest for 4 hours. I think he's doing it not only for the game, but also to make sure that people aren't driving home exhausted.
Exactly, and that you never want that on your mind, right? If you were to run a game like that and someone got in some sort of accident or something.
Yeah, it would be. Well, how would you feel? I'd feel absolutely horrible. It's like, oh, I made that guy run ragged because I know he's hardcore and he fell asleep on the way home and killed, a family or something. That's not. Yeah, nobody wants that on their conscience, man.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, basically what we've come to is if you want to run a game that doesn't have any drop-offs, talk to Jamie Nardak.
Get him on the phone.
Yeah,
there's your next podcast right there.
Oh, and I know he'd probably love to do something like that. We've had a great relationship with Jamie from the start. We really started our team at his events, and really kind of grew from there. And that's the thing too about us, where we got, I wouldn't say lucky because it wasn't luck. It was just kind of who we are. Like we game runners like us. We play the game. We don't cause problems. We don't cheat. We really try and bring people together, stuff like that. And so we really got a good chance to get to know Jamie. We got a good chance to know Force Recon. We got a good chance to know like Jody Legacy, stuff like that, and all our home fields like around.
Yeah, and all those guys on Jody and his team, Crywolf, they're all awesome dudes.
Oh yeah, we got a little thing going. Anytime we play together, it's Crywolf and Nomad. It's Mad Wolf.
Mad Wolf. Sounds like there's a coalition brewing.
Oh yeah. Oh, yep. They actually, it was great. They came down to one of our events and they got their whole team down drinking with us. I think like 6 of them ended up crashing at my house. That was a wild night. It got a little out of hand, but
Sounds like Cry Wolf though. They can handle it.
that's the thing. Them
They
all
they party hard and they play harder.
the NPAC guys too. Those guys are a bunch of party animals. They come down and drink with us all the time. Basically, what I'm getting at here, Gano, is when are you bringing your team down to drink with Nomad?
Oh,
If you think we party hard before Milsim, you should see us when we have nothing to do on a Sunday.
well, I'll probably just have to bring the hardcore guys down. Only that the guys that want to drink. A lot of our guys aren't drinkers, believe it or not.
Well, not you know what we've talked about this a lot too. It Nomad's kind of died off the not the like we still have our reputation. Like we have to put them back, we will. But this year we've kind of backed off being like drinking every single weekend, and we like whenever our way to be like, hey guys, we got to start doing something else together other than just like partying every single weekend.
Well, you guys are hitting the gym in the mornings and stuff now, right?
Well, that's a lot of us are focusing on the a little bit more fitness stuff like that. I've been dropping weight. 2 of our members just from trying a new diet alone dropped like 30, almost 40 pounds. Valkyrie, my fiance, I can't even tell you how much weight she lost. She's a fucking little rocket right now. And Caleb and Teresa, they're going out of their way to get to the gym as much. Rocket, it doesn't really matter what he does. He's always going to be a small
No,
dude.
he could weigh 1,000,000 pounds and then you wouldn't know.
Yeah, he's always
He's
going
what?
to be.
He's like 5 feet tall, right?
I'm going to say he's like 4 or 5. But I'll tell you what though, that guy. So him and I have a habit of like getting into the drinks and wrestling. There is no one else I would rather wrestle. Like
He's
other,
wily.
other than the fact of like the weight classes, he's wrestled for a long time. He's trained in or whatever. Him and I have some of the best matches in my living room at 3 a.m.
I've seen photos.
Yeah, there's photo evidence of that. But anyways, yeah, so at the end of all this, kind of what would you suggest to make Canadian Milsim a little bit more better for people not dropping off? Like, what would you suggest to people thinking about running games?
It's all about the individual. So I think everybody needs to stop being selfish and they need to start thinking about the actual game itself. A lot of these, as I said earlier, a lot of these producers are putting all their blood, sweat, and tears and time into games, and they're not like they're getting paid peanuts on their hours. If you think about it.
Yeah, a lot of people running games, they don't even actually make money. No,
they're doing it. They're doing it for the love of the game. They're doing it for guys like us that just want to go out and run hard. And they're not making any money off of it. There's no money to make. Force Recon's a good example. Like, how much swag did we get from that last game?
Oh, exactly. And that's the thing is like, at the end of the day, they go through all of this just to make sure there's actual Canadian milsim. Like, how I know personally, you got to know personally how much it costs to have patches made. So to have that amount of patches made and just given out in a basket, like, the money's not there. Like, they're taking some money home at the end of the day, but I know personally.
Maybe.
Well, like I know the guys personally, and I know they do take a little bit home, but it's not making money. It's money that goes towards the team to be able to do something.
It's pizza and beer money for their weekend. It's really what it is.
Yeah, it's not like you're not generating income. You're just making a little bit of money for your team.
Like, we got 3 patches, a bracelet. Now, bracelets are whatever. They're cheap. But, I mean, we got 3 patches, so we got the star patch that everybody gets every year for coming to their event. You get the event patch for, Nightfall, and then you get your faction patch, which was super awesome. And then this year, it all came in a nice little swag bag that you could put your iPro in.
Oh, exactly, and that was all from the Black Cell guys,
Yeah,
Mitch and
Black
Matt.
Cell, Mitch Saborn and Matt McDonald there.
Yeah, great
They're,
guys. I actually even almost ended up with an alpha flag, but I got caught.
oh, you were the
No,
guy?
I wasn't. I wish I was. I was chirping them too. As soon as everyone started telling that, because like we were talking earlier about how you got to be the driving force of your team, stuff like that. One of the big things with us being like the drinking team, I guess, is at the end of the day, I have to make sure that someone's the last one awake. So I always do my best to be the last person up there drinking. And I was like, if it was me that stole that flag, you would have found me wrapped up naked somewhere on this field with it.
Yeah, I
like,
I think I heard that in a podcast somewhere.
yeah, like I wish it was me and I ended up somewhere with it,
They
but
ended up finding the flag. I don't know, somebody turned it in or whatever, but yeah.
it was a couple guys that said, "Hey, we found this in the kitchen." So either yeah, it maybe ended up there, or it was those guys being like, "Oh, well, it's there. We didn't take it. Whatever." Who really knows what happened? But at the end of
Yeah,
the
it
day,
doesn't
they got it
it
back.
doesn't
It
matter as
does,
long as the flag's safe.
yeah. But
Because I mean that's part of their budget too, right? Making those flags
and those aren't cheap. That's actually one of the things that we're looking into right now is getting ourselves a team flag. So, like we know right away, I would not take one of those off just the thing because, well, one, you could never possibly post a picture with it, and Nomad's a highly social team, so what's the point?
yeah, I'd find out about that instantly.
Two, if I wanted a flag, I'd just buy one. Like it's no one on Nomad's hurting for money or anything like that. And also we're just honest players. Like there's no reason to steal is the main reason. But like who goes to an event and just starts taking shit when they're getting the amount of stuff they're already getting from Force Recon? I've been to
I
a
don't
lot
know.
of events and no one hands out the amount of stuff Force Recon does.
I don't know, but all I gotta say is some people are fucked.
Yeah,
That's
that'll happen everywhere, right?
yeah, like I mean, like you put a large group of people together, there's at least like two momos in it, you know, like
Oh, 100%.
yeah, they're just like people are gonna be people, and sometimes it's for the worst. So, you know, what can you do? It's just I really like that Rain Man made those dudes that didn't have dead regs do burpees though.
Yeah, I didn't really know what was going to happen with that, and I'm super glad that no one on my team forgot those because I hate burpees.
I hate burpees too, but you know what? If I was that guy that screwed up, I would throw up for my team.
Well, exactly. Like if I had to do that, you better believe my team would be hearing about it. Like we do
Well,
this
like, what
thing.
am I going to do? Am I going to do 10 burpees or have my squad sit for an hour?
Oh,
Like,
exactly.
I'm going to do the burpees, and if, like, I chuck. Whatever. I'm not
So
going to punish my guys because I screwed up.
we have something similar in because well you would know from being a team lead like there sometimes shitty things happen within a team that are involved around a member in particular. Like it just happens,
Yep.
whatever. We have what we call Nomad Court, where we have a jury, and
Do you
then
wear a wig and stuff? And, like,
no,
have a gavel?
it mainly happens in our group chat, and we bring the charges forth, and then between a group of us decide what the punishment should be, and it's always drinking related. We had a member that bailed on an event last minute to go camping with his girlfriend, so he was punished with 10 tequila shots in a row, and the six
Ooh.
of us shooting him with a mag of from my Glock. And he took it. He took it good, and then we had
All at the same time? Like, he had to
yeah,
do the 10 shots of tequila, and then you shot him?
and then start shooting him. That was
Okay,
our
so he wouldn't feel that till the next day, though.
no. And then it was actually Rocket that was going to bail on an event, and he was charged with, or his punishment was trying to do a case race with me. And then instead of bailing, he decided to come to the event instead because he didn't want to do that.
See, for punishment, I would have done. You do the 10 shots of tequila, and then the next morning when you're hungover, that's when you get shot.
Yeah, it's a new concept. It happened twice, and we've never had to do the Nomad Court since, so it's fine. It worked. Anyways, Keanu, amazing to have you on this podcast. again, like I said at the start, huge supporter of the podcast, the team, as well as we are all supportive of your guys' team. Thanks for the suggestion. And any last kind of plugs you want to put into the podcast? Anything you want the community to hear?
If you're gonna piss out on a milsim because you need to go to the club or something, just don't sign up. We need all the players there for as long as they can be there. If you get injured, cool, but if you got other plans, don't bother signing up, man. You're just hurting the game. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Carbon Defense Contracting, at CDC Airsoft if you want to see some cool guys doing cool shit, or cool guy shit, as some of us say. And just thank you, Viking, for having me on and just shooting the shit with me. It was a pleasure.
Awesome, buddy, and I'll be seeing you on the field, and when I...
Hopefully on the same side.
Hopefully,
Wink,
not next
wink,
game,
wink,
but
nudge,
soon. Just know, when I crack the next beer in this podcast, it's for you, buddy, okay?
Oh, cheers, brother.
Cheers, buddy. Well, there's the first possible all-right quality interview that Nomad's had with, with Keanu this time. Also, Force Recon's really been asking to get back on, redo that, and it's much owed to them, if anything, because they put on some quality games for us, so we could at least put on a quality podcast with them. We're still here with Eric. Eric, buddy, I know you're going to be listening to that podcast coming up, kind of listening to the interview we did with them. But what are some of the opinions you have on CDC?
You know what? I've only met him really quick. It was when we went out for breakfast after Icebreaker 3. A great bunch of guys. They were a blast to hang out with. And I really look forward to hanging out with them more and getting to know them a little better. Seeing them on the field on our side and against us. But they seem like a genuine bunch of guys. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from them more.
Yeah, I feel like that breakfast is kind of underappreciated. We had all the Cry Wolf guys, bunch of CDC guys, us, and a bunch of random guys as well. Well, not random guys, but guys from the community. And I don't know a lot of events that have happened that have that large of a group going out for breakfast together. You always end up seeing each other at breakfast while you're going to an event, but
that's what it's all about with Nomad. We got to build a community, right? Bring everybody together. That's one of our main things.
All of this being said, what an amazing interview with Keanu. Just the kind of guy really went out of his way to get on the show. He was the one that suggested the topic, and while I was thinking about it, I couldn't think of anyone better to talk to other than him about it. And I did say that the next beer cracked in this podcast was going to be for him. So here you go, Keanu. This one's for you, buddy. Eric, this is going to be the end of this this first Nomad podcast that you've been on. Can the crowd hope to hear a little bit more from you, or?
Oh, you know it. I'll be around for sure.
You're a great fucking guy. Adam's a great fucking guy. Let's do a little quick call over here. I had said there's going to be a surprised guest, so let's get a hold of Anthony. Let's see if he picks up this phone real quick. Hello?
Hello?
Anthony, this is this week's surprise guest on the Nomad podcast. How the fuck are you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Anthony, great fucking guy, the Anthony. How's it going, buddy? What are you up to?
Hey, man, it goes well. Just got home from work like half an hour ago. Boy, am I surprised.
That's why it's a surprise guest. I was sitting here thinking what else could I add into this podcast, and the new segment is surprise guest. I'm just going to call random people, and it's going to be you every time.
Because I think it's a misnomer, really. It's supposed to be the surprised guest.
Right.
Like, a surprise guest, a surprise individual we're going to put on the podcast. But in reality, I'm the surprised one here. I was just drinking, and got a phone call.
Drinking myself. Finished up a great little interview with Keanu from CDC. Figured I'd put this at the end.
Love that guy. That guy's a great fucking guy.
Great fucking guy. But of all great fucking guys, Tony, how did you end up with the Nomad Great Fucking Guy Award? Give us a little background.
Man, I don't even know. There was a group of amateurs and a simple tarmac trying to pump a bunch of foam beer, I guess. Is that the prelude to an epic novel or what?
That's pretty much where it started there about 2 years ago.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I just wanted to get you on the show here. So you're part of NPAC, as a lot of people that watch our videos know. And you went out of your way to pump 2 kegs worth of beer into about 400 people's cups. So
you know, it was surprised, man. That time just flew by. Aside from like the odd keg checks, it really it seemed like it was like 5 minutes.
It really did pass by. I mean, like from the time I think we opened it up at like what 7 or something, and they were gone by not even 10.
I want to say it was like 7 o'clock sharp start time. A little bit of fumble, maybe like 12 minutes worth of foam. And then Bob's your uncle. It was dark outside, and both the kegs were ready to blow over with the wind.
Shit. Anyways, Tony, give us a plug. Give us an NPAC plug. I know you guys got events coming up. Let's hear it.
So Tag Presents Risk is happening. Forgive me, I don't really know the dates. I think it was September 7th, 9th.
It's September 15th, I believe.
15th.
It's the same date as another date that I'm going to, so I can't make it.
Yeah, that sucks, man. We're revisiting Flag Swipe again this year. We're really, really hoping that it is a repeat of previous year's events in that it's Little Muddy, a.k.a. Passchendaele. It's really a make-or-break kind of event. If you like that experience and you're into it, then the worse it is, the better for you.
I love Tag. Every game you guys hosted has been amazing. I didn't have a good experience at Risk, but that was a command issue, not a game issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was the previous year at the college, right?
Yeah, at the college. But anyways, I'm going to get going on with the podcast. Also, if you're on games in like 20 minutes, let's fucking play some games.
For sure. Let's play something cool, though, right?
You only play fucking gay games.
You're big into that masturbation called Mordhau.
Buddy, you have Mordhau. Get on it. 15 minutes. Go.
I have it. I don't...
I am quite surprised that that actually worked.
Well, he is a pretty great fucking guy.
He's a great fucking guy. I think he was kind of expecting something just normal. Anthony and I and pretty much everyone on the team, we all keep in really good touch. So I think he was just waiting to talk about something gaming related or something like that. But so there we go. We got a little plug from Anthony talking about Risk 4. A little bit of a talk about what his thoughts on how the Nomad Kegger went. So you guys can look forward to something like that. So just remember, if you see a call coming from us, you're not safe. We're gonna try and get you on this podcast because we need more content. So we're gonna just attack you for it. But Eric, buddy,
yes,
I would call this a success. I don't know. I'm not done editing yet, but I think it's going pretty good.
I think it's going pretty good too.
Well, there you go. They're straight from the only person on this team that matters. Eric approves. Anyways, guys, let's we're gonna go through this editing process together. If you're listening to this right now, I can almost guarantee you it's not on a Wednesday morning when we like to kind of release these, but you'll be listening to this, or it will be released sometime on June. Is it June? Holy shit, it's June. This year is flying by. It's It's probably going to be released on June 19th, 2019, if you just happen to be listening to this in a time machine way in the future. But as always, guys, thanks for listening in, and have a great fucking day.
Have a great fucking day.